Okay, but before we get to grips with TS&E, let's look at the data set we're going to study. So this is the ratings data that we saw last week. If you remember, there were 10 ratings per product. So 25 products, 10 dimensions each. So it's a very small data set, in fact. But when we used the k-means algorithm, it said that there were 4 clusters. But we can't really visualize what they look like. So it's really hard to interpret what each cluster represents. Now, you could start with the radial plots, and this is the code from example 10 last week, and that gives you a picture like that. And so you can see there's 25 products, so 25 subplots, and each subplot has, each radial plot has 10 spokes representing the 10 ratings. And you can notice from that chart that there's some products that have consistently good ratings, so D, S, and T have good ratings all round. A, E, G, and K have poor ratings all round, except occasionally 1 or 2 may have a reasonable rating. So that might be a basis for doing the clustering. It might just be that, you know, one lot is the good ratings, one is the poor ratings, and then there's a couple of other clusters in the middle. But we don't know that. So first of all, a start would be to try that out. Okay, so let's calculate the average ratings and sort them and create a bar chart. Okay, the data as it stands comes with the ratings, with the products as rows and the ratings as columns. When I want to visualize the bar chart of the average ratings, I want the products as columns and the ratings as the rows. And so I'm going to transpose the data to give me the transposed version of the data, and then I'm going to sort the data by the average rating. Okay, so that sorts the data, and then I'm going to draw a bar chart. This is almost identical to one of the bar charts we saw in lecture 2. I'm just drawing a bar chart of the average rating, and if I do that, it looks like this. Okay, so you can see the products on the bottom, the average rating on the left-hand side, and if you, I don't know if you can see very clearly, but if you look at the product names at the top end and the bottom end, the low ratings are K, A, G, J, and X, and the high ratings are L, H, S, T, and D. So these are the high ratings. You may not be able to read those labels, but those are the high ratings. There's 5 of them there, quite clearly visible, and then there's 6 there. And those almost correspond to the groups that we saw on this slide. So it might be the case that the clustering might just make sense to just take, you know, this as one cluster, this is another cluster, and then some other clusters in the middle. Okay, so that's an initial start to look at the data. But let's try TS&E to try and get a sense of the structure of the data, and that will hopefully tell us something about the clustering. But I'll do that in the next video.